Swung in Ronaldo! It just had to be him! He's done it again. On Salah. Still Salah.
We are back. Welcome back to Sideline Talk podcast. What weekend it has been. Football has returned and it's getting better and better and better. 6 points for Arsenal. 2 wins out of 2. One of the only 2 teams to do it. I've got to bring it in. I'm not going to be one of them people speak about a title charge. Yeah, we have got a lot to discuss. Tuchel versus Conte. Jesus, the Brazilian, the brilliant. We're going to talk about him. And yeah, we're going to talk about Liverpool, what's going on there, Fulham and Palace. But to do that, I've got the usual panel with me. Dale is back. Dale, how are you doing, my friend? Did you have a good weekend?
Good, mate. Lovely weekend. A rotten start to the week, though, wasn't it? But
Yeah,
weekend was good, mate. Football was brilliant, wasn't it? All the games were good.
Yeah. There was a lot of excitement. Lots going on. Lee, Kingman Kingham. Obviously, you've had the night to get over yesterday's display from Liverpool and what we shall talk about shortly, which was quite a diabolical home debut for Nunez, shall we say? But yeah, other than that, well,
yeah, all good, mate.
Good stuff. And Miller is back with us. Mill Dog, how's things on your end? I feel like I don't hear from you, but obviously you've moved to the better ends of London, shall we say? I know no more Hertfordshire, but how's things with you, mate?
Yeah, mate, everything's going well. Brilliant weekend for football yet again. Can't wait to get into it. Look how miserable everyone else is.
I love it. You think back to where we was on here last season, those smiling Liverpool fans we had to deal with. You know, there was Lee there, milking away on that title charge. We were battling for top 4 in the end. At once it was 8th, I think. But yeah, it's good to be back in business. Back at Emirates on Saturday, which I was delighted to see. Obviously, there were some other games. Aston Villa, Everton, Villa winning that game 2-1. I actually watched that in the pub, to be fair, so I did catch a bit of it. But to be honest, I've got no real different thoughts of what I had last week. Everton, they signed Connor Cody. That's good for them. You know, that's someone they needed, especially after the injury of Godfrey. But when they're playing someone like Anthony Gordon up top, I have not got any faith for them whatsoever. He's tiny. He's definitely not worth 40 mil. And to be honest, yeah, they need someone different up there fast. I think the sooner that Calvert-Lewin comes back, the better. I still don't think he's going to tick enough boxes for them anyway. But yeah, good win for Villa, obviously, after their defeat to Bournemouth. Let's chat about Arsenal. I'll go to you first, Mildog, being someone that watched, obviously, from behind the scenes. And then I'll come to myself, and then we'll get an outside point of view from the lads. But what's been your take on Arsenal? And obviously, we've got man, the best signing of the season by far at the minute, and I don't think anyone can deny that. Gabriel Jesus, talk to me, mate. What's your thoughts after this result?
Oh, I think it's a fantastic result. I think it shows, the strength of the team at the moment. The confidence is obviously at a high, probably the highest it's ever been with Arteta, I'd say. And I'm enjoying watching them. I think, like you just touched on, Jesus being the signing of the season so far. Couldn't agree anymore. I mean, maybe the other lads will disagree, but no, I'm happy. I think for once as well. I mean, you know me, I was never really a massive Arteta lover, but I must admit, I'm starting to see, the fruits coming forward, and I'm happy with it. I really, really think that he's building something special there.
Yeah, brilliant. I agree. I think it's just a good mood all around at the minute. Obviously, the documentary's going, and we know what's going to happen soon in it. But I think people are just starting to believe in him, even just from that. I think Arteta's showing that he's a real leader. And yeah, the performances are going our way. The team look like it's blossoming together. We've added more pieces to the puzzle. Zinchenko, I thought he was brilliant as well. Just all around a great day on Saturday. The atmosphere was absolutely terrific. It was good to be on the carpet. One thing I will say, though, I don't want to see these violinists and bands within the stadium. I want to hear fans talking. I want to hear fans shouting. That's the only sort of singing I want to see. It was a bit of a myth. Luckily, I wasn't sat in next section, but Yeah, I think there would have been a few cold shoulders about that. I don't think many people
I
go
haven't
to
seen that.
football to.
Where
Oh,
are they located?
yeah, luckily nowhere near my side. I think it was near the clock end. It was the complete other side of the pitch. I was in the North Bank. I
Is
just
that a
saw a
regular
few
thing?
I don't know. I mean, it was the first home game of the season, so let's not. But hopefully, it's just a try and a fail. I don't think many people took too well to it, to be
Are
honest.
they getting
I
sick?
think that's a bit harsh, mate. Not
I
everyone
wanna
goes.
hear-
Not everyone goes to the football just for the beers and all that. What about the kids and all that? It's fucking good for them.
Yeah,
Think
but
of
can you
like,
imagine if they lost that game, the stick that those people would be getting?
Right,
generate
all
a
I'm
bit of
saying, right?
atmosphere.
Last season we were given Tottenham stick, yeah, for all of this nonsense they were doing in the concourse. The only things I want to see, right, is chanting going on within the concourse or within the stands, and that's from the fans. Some band singing an ABBA tribute to Tomiyasu doesn't sit well with me. That money can go to something else. But in terms of the game, because I want to get back to the actual game, because we've got to move on. There's so much to discuss. Jesus, yeah, look, at City he was not. I generally feel like he can become a legend at Arsenal. I think he can go on to do better things than we've seen players do in years. Sanchez, he was a great player, great asset. And yeah, he won some few FA Cups with us. And he did get us to a different level. But Jesus looks hungry, you know. He just seems like he's ready to go. And he knows how important he's going to be to this team. And he's already shown a few amount of games. And I'm looking forward to what's next. You know, his first goal was beautiful. The confidence he's got to be going through to even take that shot. And Xhaka, look, anyone that's watched this show since we began knows how much I sit there and I back Xhaka. He's going absolutely nowhere. He was brilliant. It was quite harsh on him to not be man of the match because obviously Jesus stepped up. But yeah, he deserved a goal. He was unlucky, to be honest, not to score one or two. He seemed to be
He
everywhere
must
and
be
anywhere.
blowing as well. Look how far forward he's getting.
Yeah, I know. But if we can just add, I don't even think it's a case of adding an upgrade on him at the moment because it's hard to take him out of the team. He's doing so much to it. Yes, he probably will get taken out eventually, but it's a case of getting a good option there next to him as well, you know, and for Partey. But yeah, all in all, great result. And Saliba, Premier League debuts don't come easy. You've done 2 out of 2 now. We're about to talk about Darwin shortly. We know how that went. And yeah, Saliba's he's a man on a mission, and he's
Like his own goal, yeah.
Look, that's unlucky.
So
That was unlucky. Let's be honest.
You've got
Vardy's-
-1 on
Vardy's-
fantasy points this week.
Mate, it was one red card away from being Jonathan Woodgate at Real Madrid.
Mate, Vardy's getting there if he doesn't. It was unlucky. And any other day, I generally don't think he even goes in. He made the right decision because we all know Vardy.
Poor positioning, mate. Poor positioning, mate.
Oh, all right. Let's talk about Van Dijk shortly, shall we? But yeah. Yeah, let's move on. Obviously, there were some 3 p.m. kickoffs. Southampton, look, again, last week we were saying I think they're in trouble. What is going on with them? Like, luckily they came back. It was a great comeback. However, Leeds at home, that's where you smash and grab. That's where you want 3 points. If you're not getting 3 points there, I don't know what to say for them for the rest of the season. I don't know where they're going to pick up wins. But yeah, Hudson Holt, I think he's going to be in a bit of trouble. Wolves, Fulham, this is quite interesting actually because I've seen their link to Nunez, who Liverpool have been close to.
They've agreed.
What was your
agreed it. They've agreed.
Yeah, what was your thoughts on that, Dale? Obviously, Liverpool hungry for a midfielder, even more so after last night. I've seen so many fans ranting, and now we're seeing Wolves shock horror, another Portuguese. Obviously 0-0 against Fulham, that wasn't great. But I've said they don't score enough goals. But it's another game where you want to be taking up 3 points. How do you feel seeing that? Do you think maybe it is a case of I saw someone say earlier, and I was quite optimistic on it. Oh, sure, if he's that good, he'd be going to Liverpool or Man City. 50 million is a lot of money for a player that's not proven. Do you feel like Liverpool perhaps missed an opportunity here?
No, I don't think so, mate. I think, like I said before, Klopp will only buy somebody when it's the right player. I think a lot of it's they know Liverpool need a midfielder, and I think a lot of it is they use Liverpool's name sometimes to try and boost the price up a little bit or try and get more interest in the player. I don't think we was ever really in for him, to be honest with you. I think it's Sporting Lisbon trying to use an established name who they know that we need a midfielder. They're trying to use us. They're trying to maybe scare Wolves a little bit to try and egg them on to make a higher bid or make a better offer. So I don't think we was ever really linked with him. From what I know about him, he's more of a Fabinho type player, more of a sort of sitter. I think he can drive forward a bit better than Fabinho can, but I don't think we was ever really someone that we were going to take seriously, or it was never really concrete talks for that. I think we need somebody who's a bit more a flair, a bit more creative, someone who can go past a player. I think that's what we're missing. We're a bit robotic. Everyone kind of does the same thing. Thiago's really the only one who can sort of do something different, with a pass or a flick or a trick. I don't think there's much. Everyone else is kind of samey, and I think that's just where we are at the minute. Yeah. It doesn't help just having the lack of options that we've got at the minute in the middle. With all the injuries, that's all it is. But yeah, I don't think we was ever really in for that Nunez.
Yeah, good shout. Obviously, they brought in Guedes as well. I mean, Wolves, I feel like this season they're going to get found out because they had a very good defensive record. And yeah, for me, I think they just need to score more with that front. The front three they've got should be good enough as well. They've got Neto. Traore's back. I know he's a bit of a hit and miss. There's something he doesn't bring to the table. Jimenez has never been the same, but Guedes looks like a good player, so we'll see what happens. I reckon that's the sort of result that we won't see many of this season, though, against teams like Fulham. They should be able to bounce back. And we've got to talk about Nick Pope, because I was a bit baffled. I logged on Saturday morning, I think it was, and I looked at my Twitter and I thought, what is going on? I thought he just had a baby or something. Nick Pope everywhere. And then, to be honest, he had high weight on his shoulders, given the fact that he was trending. Everyone was talking about him. I think Domino's were tweeting, everyone just making these shouts. And it was actually I found out in the end, it was because there was talks of who was better between him and one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. But his performance against Brighton, he done well. Good. It was a good signing for Newcastle. And I think he kept the game. Brighton kept pushing and pushing, and he held them up. But look, guys, I'm going to move on from the 3 o'clocks because there is one thing we need to talk about, and it's happened again. It's happened again, people. Manchester United 0, Brentford 4. We've got to go around the room for this one. Lee, I'll go to you because I know me and Dave were just discussing Wolves, and then we'll go around because this is too good to not get on 2 minutes on. There's been a lot of talk about United and how, it's never the manager, it never was the manager. And now there's all these rumours about how Ronaldo is perhaps a bad part to the dressing room now more than what he is good. And he's someone that they need to, just cut their losses and move on from. What's your take on this? And where do you think it's going wrong for them? Obviously, two bad defeats in the drop now.
Just a bit gutted I didn't actually watch a game, to be honest. I can't physically watch Man United games because I hate them that much. It's brilliant. It's brilliant to see, though. I think I had them down as my underachievers of the season. From
good start.
This show 2 weeks ago, and I think I'm onto a winner here already. It looks like Ten Hag and Lampard are going to be in the sack race for the first manager to go at the moment. I don't know. There's a lot of arguing between whether it's the players, whether it's the owners. You've got Gary Neville going hard at the owners. You've got people like Jamie Redknapp saying it's the players. They're just a mess, aren't they? They're just an absolute mess. They're not linked to anyone good. Fucking Arnautovic.
Oh my God, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
I can't see how they're getting out of the mess anytime soon. Their defence is a shambles. They ain't got any strikers. I mean, McTominay is probably on the worst form of his life, and I can't see how they're going to get any confidence when their own fans are just berating them. They don't give them any support. It's like their own fans, really. For most of us, for us all growing up, they had all our years at school. We had to listen to them celebrating success, and now they're finally having sort of 10 years of what a lot of us have had to put up with, and they don't like it. They can't handle it. They're not supporting their team, not getting behind the team, and I think the fans are just behaving just as bad as the players, really.
You're not the first to say that, though. I don't listen to TalkSport often, but I heard someone in TalkSport say this, and I kind of had to agree because I thought, look, it doesn't always come gold. Sometimes you're going to have bad spells, and United have been going through this decline for a long time. And I think the things with me as well, if you look at Man United, the players they brought in, no one's ever really improved. Like, since someone joined Man United Yeah, like
The
you look at
recruitment
you look at Bruno, he's gone backwards. You look at Ronaldo. Okay, he had a good season last year, but that was just as good as what he was. That was what he'd bring. And then you look at all the other McTominay, Rashford on a decline, Martial. I never expected much from him anyway. He's, you know, he's
I mean,
not really bringing much to the table.
The new signings. I mean, there was Sancho last year. He's done fuck all.
Sancho, great.
I mean, Martinez this year. I think he's done even worse. He's probably got to be the worst signing of the season so far. Martinez, even worse than Nunez. It's the recruitment is abysmal.
Still that little sign though, isn't there?
It's just,
I just love that. I'm not even talking about Liverpool yet.
I can't feel sorry for him. I can't feel sorry for United. I never will do. But it's just, the recruitment of that club is a shambles. Just you can't try and have people like McTominay and Fred trying to play around. I mean, putting Eriksen as a deep line playmaker when he's a number 10, you got to look at the manager for that. He just hasn't got. You can see he's got a way of playing. He's not got the players to do it. I mean, is it a good management that he's trying to stick to that, or is it bad management?
I agree with you. It's bad management. It's bad management, mate. It drives me mad when I see teams playing with, they say, the manager's got a philosophy, but he needs a certain player, but then he continues to still do the same things with the players that can't play that system. Play to what you've got a group of players. It's going to take. You've got to play to the strengths of the team. So if you can't play out from the back, put a big lump up front and go long to him. It's simple. They just overcomplicate it, and it does my nutting. Not that I I want to see United win it. It's brilliant to see them getting slapped up 4-0 at half time, but it just drives me mad when these managers are so stubborn, and they continue to play the same way, and they think it's going to. They just believe in their philosophy without having players.
The Haya era didn't help really. I mean,
I'll be honest.
I backed him in the first show we did this season. I backed him and said he was still. I can't remember who said he was. I might have been Sam said he was shit these days, but I think I backed him and he's just gone and done that.
What was brilliant to see as well. What was brilliant to see. I've got to bring this up is the fact that De Gea had such a bad game. I agree with what he said in his interview. I think De Gea was at fault for maybe at least 2 or 3 of the goals. However, having said that, the team were just as bad. He can't take all the blame. They conceded 4 goals in 34 minutes. Doing that to a team like Brentford should never happen. No matter how many skeletons there are in the closet, you're still Manchester United. You don't concede 4 goals in 35 minutes to the likes of Mbumo, Josh Da Silva. You're better than that. You've definitely got the quality to be better than that. Sorry, go on, Dave.
Thing is, you can't take too much away from Brentford. They had a game plan, which was they stuck to it. They pressed them higher. They pressed the life out of them. When they got the ball, they didn't muck around with it in mid. They got it forward. They attacked the 5'9" centre back in Martinez. They put Ben Mee on him every single corner that they had. It was Ben Mee versus Martinez every single time. I think you got to give Brentford a bit of credit. We've all said to them that this season they might have a bit of second season syndrome where they might have a few dodgy results. But to be fair to them, they started like house on fire, haven't they? So I think you got to give fair play to them. They lost Eriksen, who was probably their most creative player, but then they played against this new team with him in it and made him look like he was a league below. So fair play to him.
The good thing is as well is that they're like you said, they're doing it with they haven't really got many good players out there. They haven't got players you look at and think, oh yeah, they can do the job for you. It's a pretty thin squad with a few good players in there with some talent. Like people like Wissa, you don't really know him often, but he'll do the job for him just because he can.
Yeah, but that's what United need then. They need players who are going to run and work. That's what they need at the minute.
I don't know how they fix this. Because as much as we can sit here and say, look, get rid of Ronaldo and move on. Who do you bring in? We've now got 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks away from deadline day, right? And I'm looking at United and I'm thinking, okay, I think you need a midfielder. You probably need a striker. And then I'm looking around at the Premier League table and I'm thinking, how many teams are in that position? Arsenal, who we've just touched on, we definitely need someone in the midfield. Chelsea, we'll go on to them just in a minute now. They look like they're ready to spend. He seems like he's just going to throw money at everything. Every deal I've seen in the Premier League so far, he's tried to swoop in. Richarlison, Rafinha. He's trying to make his presence known everywhere. De Jong. And I'm thinking, who are you going to go to right now? Are you going to go to Man United, or who are on a serious decline? Owners probably about to sell up. Or are you going to go to Chelsea, Champions League winners, Club World Cup winners, just got some new ownership, looking to show some ambition? I think I know where you're gonna put your eggs. There's only one basket. So for me, I don't know how they're gonna actually fix this. I really don't. I don't know who. Like I saw them linked to Casemiro. Is he a fix? No, short term.
Then who cares?
Yes, but I'm also gonna agree that I don't think this is one of them where people are saying, oh, they could be in a relegation battle. That it's Man United. It wouldn't surprise me if they go and put on a performance against Liverpool next week now. I don't think they will, but it wouldn't surprise me. Stuff like this happened with you, Man United. It happened under Ollie. Going through plenty of good, bad performances. Then he went and showed up in a Manchester derby. So, but yeah, we will move on.
I was saying today, though, did you see when
when
Ollie came second with that team?
No, it was Jose, wasn't it?
I think it was Ollie. I think it was Ollie, mate.
Jose said
you're talking about
achievement. Said his best ever management achievement was coming second with Man United.
No, I think Ollie done it as well, mate. I'm pretty sure.
I think Ollie might have done it as well, to be fair.
He did. I think he finished second the year that Liverpool were finished fourth, and we had like 1,000 injuries. That year with we had no fans in the ground.
But did we touch on what would you guys think of? What would you say if that Ronaldo was at your club and that situation was happening with you? Do you think he needs to show a bit more of a level of professionalism, or do you think just?
You can just play Ronaldo just because he's meant to be the best player in the world.
No.
Which at the moment I think he's far beyond. Like, look, last season there was players that really stepped up. You're talking the likes of Benzema, Salah, of course, and Lewandowski. Ronaldo did wonders. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of it was just the Ronaldo we knew. We know what he can be. I didn't see killer goals. There was a lot of poaching.
I feel like they're making him a scapegoat a little bit.
Yeah, he's exactly. That's what the point I was going on. I think Ronaldo is.
Thing is, though, with it, in the same breath as that, though, I don't care who you are. If you don't want to be at my club, go. Tata.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to be there.
Don't care. Yeah, don't care what you've done. I don't care how many goals you scored for me. If you turn around and say you don't want to be here, I don't want to see you playing for my team. Simple. So if he wants to go. Simple. Bye.
It's like, I think it's only I'd only get rid of him if he wants to go and if that's what his choice is. If he said, look, I want to leave now. But I wouldn't be, if I was a Man United fan, I wouldn't be sitting there throwing all my guns at Ronaldo when Bruno Fernandes is not doing any more whatsoever than what Ronaldo is. And like at the moment he's stealing the living because he's not a small pay player there. And
I'm still so annoyed to become Team of the Year for FIFA, man. On FIFA
this is what I mean about the decline, though. There is many players at that club that have just hit a decline since joining Man United, and he's one of the victims. But we'll move on because I know there's more to talk about. Just when De Gea's having a bad game, Dean Henderson pops up and has an absolute blinder for Nottingham Forest. So I don't know who's biting their tongue in the Manchester United management room, but good result for Forest, getting their first win of the season. Historic for them, really, obviously not being in the Premier League for many years. I bet that was some day out for the fans. We have
Did you see his interview? Did we touch on that the other day? I said, did we touch on his interview the other episode?
Vaguely. I think we touched on it vaguely, and I think there was a bit of a. I was under the impression that there's certain things you just swallow your pride and move on. Yeah, he's backing up his words. The good thing is he done that interview, and he's gone and just had a great performance against. Let's be honest, at the moment, one of the top 8 sides in the Premier League. So if you put on a performance like that against West Ham, fair enough. Keep going. But all he's got to do is just back it up.
I don't think West Ham done everything they could possibly do to try and score. Hit the bar, hit the post.
They were unlucky to be fair to him, weren't they?
Ben Rama could have had about 4 goals. Literally, he had a goal chalked off, and then I think he hit the post, and then Dean Henderson got one off the line. I think I thought, cool, you're having a mare.
4 nails at the crossbar. And then Forest's goal as well was a bit jammy, wasn't it? Missed.
The good thing is for them to pick up for Forest to pick up wins there is good because like look at Fulham. They've got 2 results against Wolves. They've got 2 points out of Wolves and Liverpool. I think that's well going because that's 2 big games out of the way, and there's going to be other teams that drop off. Bournemouth have just hit a loss, obviously, and teams like Everton. they're hitting losses. So if you can pick up points at the beginning of this, yeah, if they're going to pick up points now, it's a good time to.
I was very impressed with old Neco Williams putting a cracking display. It's good to see him doing well. 15
mil as well. Like this is what I mean with prices. You've got to perform that sort. If you're a player that's just come from a big club for 15 million, and I'm not saying 15 million is massive money, but for his level of player, of course it is. For his level of caliber, of course. So yeah, he's gonna be one that keeps them up if they stay up this season, because he's playing in an important position where right wingers are just going to get down that flank. So let's go on to Chelsea. Lots to talk about here.
I was going to say before we move on, what about West Ham?
What do I think of them? Do you mean? Or
yeah, they have not made a very good start to the season, have they?
Is it something to worry about? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they played badly. I agree with like what you said. I think it was just a case of bad luck on the day. I mean, realistically, they should be winning that game 3 or 4-0. Awaniyi had a good game for Forest and he deserved the goal.
I thought Dale wanted to talk about Declan Rice.
I knew you was bringing this up.
No.
What have you got to say about Declan? I actually saw you comment on Instagram earlier, and I was so close to just getting involved, just to stir the pot.
Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's clearly a good player. He's got a good engine on him, but he offers nothing, mate. He doesn't do anything. You look. I did a bit of research on it because I thought this might come up, right? So it winds me up. He's had 169 games in the Premier League, right? He started just over 120 of them. He's lost more than he's won. He's only scored 6 goals. His tackle success rate is 56%, and he's had 2 errors leading to goals. When everyone tells me he's a £150 million player, Scott McTominay scored. Listen. Scott McTominay scored more goals than him in less appearances. Wilfred Ndidi scored more goals than him. Scott McGinn scored more goals than him. Granit Xhaka scored more goals than him.
I don't look at Declan Rice as a goal to. Like,
So this is the thing. If people tell me he's a box-to-box midfielder, I look at box-to-box midfielders as people like Gerrard, Lampard, players like that, right, who can get up and score goals as well as defend. That's what everyone tells me he is. He's not. Everyone tells me he's not a holding midfielder. If you categorise him as a holding midfielder, I still don't think he offers that much. He doesn't. He just, to me, I watch him and I think, yeah, he's got a good energy levels. He gets up and down, but other than that, what does he actually offer to that team? If you take him out of the team, West Ham's results, he don't. Does he?
Leadership. Here we go. You sound like a Tottenham fan. He's a shit house.
Honestly,
what's he led them to? What has he led them to?
I think there was a stat last year. It was in like the top 5 in the world of ball recoveries or something like that. So he does get the ball back. Do you know what I mean? He leads the team. West Ham will be fucked without him. His last 9 England starts, he got man of the match in 5 of those games. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but when you're playing for England, we ain't playing anyone with any note, are we? Apart from what?
Well,
right, fair play to him.
Euros.
Yeah, he had a good Euros, but the whole team had a good Euros. I just look at him and I think everyone tells me he's the next big star of England. I just don't see it. I think if you take him out of that team, their results don't really change that much. And if you're talking about
an England captain,
oh please no,
honestly,
he's
only 22. Remember, he's only 22. He's a captain of West Ham.
Yeah,
already.
But
future England captain.
But then, when you say that, it's a good shout because you look around. If you look at the list of players that are going to be going, let's just say in the next 3 competitions, right? Let's look at World Cup. Let's look at Euros in 2 years' time, and then again, you look at the club, and you look at who's going to be here for the future once Harry Kane is gone, should we say? Because that's what we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is there? That's probably got captaincy material about them?
Listen, he probably would become captain because he's got a good attitude and he does the right
Keeps
thing.
Head in the game, yeah.
This is it. He's not someone who's going to be in trouble with the media. He's good with the media. He does all the right things that England captain should do. But in terms of his quality, I just don't see it. I just don't see what everyone else seems to think about.
Chad's has got to be in a wind-up, isn't he?
He's got to be.
He's got to be on that. How many beers did he have today?
Lee might be right. Lee might be right with Rice. You know, he is only young. He's 22. He's got time to improve. But I'm talking about the here and now. Like in 5 years' time, he could completely prove me wrong and completely change my opinion.
I
But
think-
right now, as it stands,
Look at
I just don't see that high.
West Ham's Europa League run last year. He was fucking class in that. Class.
No, yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe if he finds that level by joining another
I
club,
think
then
calling
we'll
him
look at that
overrated is
elite
perhaps
midfielder.
strong. I think calling him overrated is perhaps strong, but
I think
there's a
as
but there.
it
I
stands,
don't think the
he's-
150 million. 150 million is way off. No.
as it stands, he's a bang average centre midfielder in the Premier League. He's not. I wouldn't say. If you look at the top,
Average.
look
I've
at
got
the
to
top
clip
six.
that.
Then so look at the top
He
six.
he
right?
walks into every midfield in the Premier League apart from City.
No, he doesn't. No,
No,
he
you talk-
doesn't.
does.
This is what I'm talking about.
Maybe your midfield at the moment.
No, that's what I was about to say.
You got Harley Elliott playing Harvey Elliott playing pivot.
He'd get into Chelsea's, he'd get into Arsenal's, he'd get into Spurs.
No, he wouldn't.
No
He
chance.
wouldn't.
No
He would.
chance. If Basuma don't get in Spurs' team, then Declan Rice don't get in Spurs' team.
Oh, he would. Definitely would. Better
You're
than
saying,
Højbjerg.
can we just get this right? Can I just clarify here? So you're saying that Basuma is better than Declan Rice? Are we saying this?
I think Basuma offers you more. You know what you get. If Basuma's in my team, I feel more confident with Basuma starting than I would with Declan Rice. He would offer me more.
All I'm
This is
thinking
nearly
about
as
right
bad as the
now.
Chelsea 7th comment.
All I'm thinking about right now is the run we went on in the Euros, right, and how much Rice and Phillips together as a partnership.
Yeah, but that's Rice and
Caused
Phillips
that
together.
realistic-
But we're not talking about a partnership. We're not talking about their partnership. We're talking about Declan Rice as
No, but I'm
as a
saying
whole.
Rice probably was more responsible for that than Phillips, 100%.
I'm not too sure. I thought he had a poor game in the final. But to be fair, a lot of them didn't really turn up in that final for half an hour. We did, and then we went off the boil. But I don't rate him, mate. I don't rate him. He might prove me wrong. And like I say, I'm not wrong in it. I'm not wrong, and I'm not right. If this is my opinion. If
You've got someone supporting you here. Ryan said he's not even top 10. If that's in the league, then yeah, I probably don't think he is top 10 in terms of centre mid.
Sticky Rice. Listen, he's young. He's
He's
a
had a
great
curry tonight, and he's had a Ruby Murray.
Listen, he's got a great engine on
Hard-boiled
him.
rice.
He can get up and down the pitch. He's athletic, and like I say, he's not. I'm not sitting here saying he's a bad footballer. He's clearly not a bad footballer. He's got all the attributes to go on and become something special. But right now, as we are today, I listen to all these people raving about him week after week after week, and I see him do nothing. And yet I get, Declan Rice had a good game. What did he do? Oh, well, he ran up and down a few times. Well, that's standard. That's he got up and down. He's good box to box midfielder. But what did he do? He didn't create nothing. He didn't score. He didn't create any chances. He did nothing. All he did was get the ball, play it sideways and backwards. That to me ain't enough.
I mean, there's going to be some definite
Anytime he has a good
debate
game,
on
I'm
that.
going to pick that this season.
No, literally,
He'll probably win the PFA Player of the Year this year now.
Can I just say as well, you said that you think Basuma offers more. Basuma cost Spurs £25 million, and Declan Rice is supposedly worth 150. Let's just put that into perspective. English tax all you want, there is still a massive gap there.
That's the thing. He's not worth 150. Let's face it. I mean, if you're buying,
I don't think Bellingham though is. I don't think many players are worth 150.
Yeah, but Bellingham's overpriced as well. That's just the market.
I don't think there's many players in the City team that are worth 150 million.
That would be a really interesting poll. It would be a
weird.
I think what it is they're young midfielders and they're obviously good enough to play now already. So the reason they're so highly priced is if you're paying that amount of money, it works out not that much over, say, if they're going to be in your midfield for the next 10 years.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Listen, he's an athlete. He's got everything there that he could go on to become something. And like I say, he could go on to become one of the best midfielders we've seen, box to box midfielders. But as it sits today, I just get fed up with listening to people sing his praises, and he doesn't actually do a lot. And if you look at his numbers, it doesn't really impress me as such. Not that I need to be impressed. He probably don't give a shit, but it's it's just the way I see it. I don't like when everyone gets on him and tells me that he's one of the top midfielders in the Premiership. I just don't see it.
We've got talking of midfielders and moving on and players that are overrated anyway, because we've just been touching on whether Declan Rice would get into either of these teams. And to be honest, look, I swallowed my words a bit this weekend because we didn't touch on the City game, actually. Man City won 4-0 and Kevin De Bruyne had a masterclass after I said that I thought he was going to not struggle this season, but maybe get overshadowed. What a performance he had in that 4-0 win. And then I said this game will not live up to expectations, but it had everything. And as outsiders, which we all are, Sam, I want to go to you first because I know we've had some debates with Dale on Jalfrezi rice or whatever you want to call it, but jollof rice,
old sticky rice.
Old sticky rice. Yeah, give me your thoughts on this one. And how good is it to see rivalries like this back? Obviously, we've missed it for a while in Arsenal, Tottenham. And yeah, I kind of agree. I think our game is coming back. Our game is definitely coming back in terms of the fight and charisma, because you haven't seen it in a while. Managers getting in a scrap like that before. So yeah, give me your thoughts on the game itself. And do you feel like Chelsea were unlucky? I thought they should have won this game with ease.
Oh, mate. Yeah, no, I couldn't. I think they should have won that. They should have put the game to bed early doors, man. I mean, I think I don't want to give too much credit to Tottenham. I don't. But that they showed that fight back again. They were 2-0 down, weren't they? So fair play. But again, one of my friends actually said he's a Spurs fan anyway, and he said that this is the game that he looks forward to the most. The Battle of the Bridge, as they call it. And I think it's exciting to see them two managers go at it. Two good teams really go at it. I think, Chelsea are now starting to tick a little bit more. They're looking a lot better than I think we all thought they were going to be. So
I completely disagree with you there. I've got to jump in and disagree.
What do you think, though, defensively? I think they're a lot sounder than people would have actually believed. Koulibaly's been a fantastic
defensively, too right. They've got two of the best defenders in the
league.
Mate,
I know, but
if they weren't playing as well defensively, I would be a bit baffled. They've got Thiago Silva.
Did you see that finish was a striker's finish?
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I agree. Look, they're playing well, but I wouldn't say they're living up to a bigger expectation than what we expect, because they have a brilliant team all in all. Sorry, you can go back to this in a minute, but they're just missing that number 9. But yeah, do carry on, mate.
Yeah, no, they are missing, obviously, that. It's almost like they need a big 6-foot Belgium striker to pump the ball forward. But, hey.
Thing is, we're touching on Chelsea being good defensively, all right? But yet they threw away 2 leads at the weekend.
Say that again?
So we're touching on Chelsea looking good defensively. They chucked away 2 leads at the weekend.
Oh, no. Again, yes. Obviously, there is cracks, and like you say, but I still think that they were better equipped. They looked better than I personally thought that they would be. I thought that Thiago would probably suffer a little bit with his fitness this year or something like that. Koulibaly would take a while to settle, but I think they're looking quite sound. Yeah, Mendy, again, everyone raves for me about Mendy, and it might be a keeper thing with me. I don't think he's that great. I really don't.
I think when you've got when you've got 5 defenders in front of you, you're always going to have a little bit more protection, aren't you?
We all know Chelsea Park, the new Stevenage bus station. We always have. So I'm not going to sit there and have people tell me that Chelsea got the best keeper in the league, because how can you judge when you've got a big brick?
No, I disagree. I don't think he's one of them.
No, I wouldn't even say he's one of. And I'm not going to have this debate where people say he's better than Ramsdale. Yes, of course he is. He's more experienced. He's just one he's an international, for God's sake. But
he doesn't really
I don't think he's as good as people. I don't think he's as good as people make out. I think he's protected by, like Sam said, the big wall that's always been in front of him and every other Chelsea goalkeeper. For me, and then I'll go to you for your thoughts. I just think they need to think fast. I've just seen they've just signed another little Casado, I think his name is, and they're building things for the future, which is great. Don't get me wrong, that's great. Good intentions from the American, I see. Fantastic. But they've got bigger fish to fry. Like Sterling's not going to do it all. And I completely disagree with whoever put that on Instagram earlier that you commented on, Dale. Sterling definitely not the most overrated player in the Premier League. And anyone that wants to sit here and debate that can chat to me all day long. If anything, I think he's underrated. I think he's underappreciated. And I said that when he left City. I think 40 mil for him was a bargain, but relying on him to score your goals and be your number 9 season or false 9 isn't the answer. And neither is Broha either. I don't think Broha is spoken about enough, but I think there's some reason. They need to think fast about what they're going to do. Werner's gone, Lukaku's gone, and okay, Aubameyang may give you a few goals. It's not going to be 10 or 12. I don't even think it'll be 8. But I don't think he's answer either for the wages you'll be spending. They need to think about who's around and who there is to go for. I was surprised to not see them get Lewandowski. I know I'm surprised. I've said this before. That would have been the ideal steal for them, to be honest. They had the money. Lewandowski could do with a spell in the Premier League. Makes sense. But they're running out of options. Why never, Lee? Why?
Lewandowski is one of those players who wouldn't want to tarnish his own legacy by the chance that he might not be able to cut it in the Prem.
You think
100%.
There's
He's one of those players who's probably in the back of his mind thinking, I might not be able to handle the Prem. I'm going to stay in these European leagues where I can bang goals in.
It's interesting. But then again, in fact, answer this and then give me your thoughts on the game and the scrap between Tuchel and Conte. Obviously, both of them have been charged and will most likely miss their next games. But yeah, who can you see fixing this for Chelsea? And do you think they're right to get rid of Lukaku and Werner this window?
I think you're being way too critical on Chelsea at the moment, to be honest. I thought this realistically should have been a comfortable 2-0. I thought Chelsea were brilliant throughout the game. Tactically, Tuchel had them spot on. I think the way they changed where they defended.
So you agree? Technically, you're agreeing with me. Because you're saying they just need that finisher, which is what
I thought the way they like transitioned from being like in a back five without the ball, and then when they had the ball, they moved Loftus-Cheek into midfield. Reece James went out wide, and like they pushed forward, and he left Mason Mount in space and things like that. It should have been a comfortable 2-0. I mean, Spurs' equaliser never should have stood with that hair pull. That was outrageous.
Yeah, great to bring that up. Yeah.
I mean, even the first goal, 50-50 whether that tackle could have been given a free kick to Chelsea.
Rob.
And then they were unlucky with George. Well, I say unlucky, it was stupidity from Jorginho. I don't know what he's trying to do doing a fucking drag back in his own box. He's saying Declan Rice can't get in the top 6 midfield when you've got players doing that. Declan Rice can't do that. But I thought Chelsea looked really good. Everyone's been gassing Spurs up at the start of the season, saying how good they look, what they're going to do this season. I thought Chelsea played them off the park most of the game, to be honest. But I will give Tottenham some credit. They've rarely they show fight in past seasons, and they actually managed to, sort of show some character and coming back. Actually, I think stuck the foot in. It was kind of like a battle of the bridge part 2 kind of thing. It was It was really enjoyable. Like the Premier League's just turned 30 yesterday, and it was a great advert for it, really.
100%.
And I think Tuchel would probably win in a fight against Conte. He's got a longer reach.
He's got what? Did you say? Sorry.
He's got a longer reach. He's got longer arms, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's taller. He's massive compared to him.
Yeah.
He just pull off Conte's air transplant.
I think he won the tactical battle.
I know some tall people, but they're as weak as my limbs at the moment. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'd probably go Conte based on experience, and he just seems to have that fire in it. Tuchel, I don't know. I feel like he's just trying to be one of the big boys, but he's not quite there. He's I don't know, but yeah, I agree. I think in terms of seeing stuff like that again, it's just enjoyable. Takes you back to like Wenger Fergie days when it actually meant something. We play United now. You don't get stuff like that on the touchline, so it is good to see. From Tottenham, I completely agree with you. I think people have given them way too high expectations, and I'm not just saying it from an Arsenal fan perspective. I'd say this with my Arsenal hat off. I think the fact they're not even using any of their signings, like if you look at their bench, half of their bench is the players they've just signed, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. Basuma, it's going to take them time to settle in. They've got good midfielders there. And what they've had works. Obviously, Højbjerg scored. So, yeah, I'm not going to dispute that. But the signings they've made, I still don't think are good enough to put them in this title challenging position, which people are saying they're going to be in. And it's going to take them time to settle in.
They haven't started the signings yet. You can see they made a big difference when they come on. Like when they bring Perisic on, you can see it did make a difference. So it'd be interesting to see if they actually start him in the next game.
Yeah, that's true. I think they just need to wait for a game which, obviously, Chelsea away. It's a rival. It's a rivalry derby. Blood's in the air, and they're going to stick to what they know. They won't fix what isn't broken. Maybe the next game they'll change things, and I might swallow words again. Who knows? But I think people are just putting way too much expectation on them and getting way too excited. I think there's a lot of work to do for Conte. I think any manager, to be honest, putting these pieces together. But yeah, 30 years of Premier League, and it's already living up to expectations. Football is back. I don't really want to touch on this too much because I know, boys, we're going to get wound up. But look, things get better for Arsenal. 3 points for us. Chelsea and Tottenham drop points. United lose. And then Palace come to town at Anfield. And they keep up the party. Look, I'll go to you first because you're right next to me. And I want to get your thoughts. I don't want to go into the red card just yet. I want to just get your thoughts on the performance. And then we'll talk about, the disaster that happened later on. But what was your take on Liverpool's start to the game? And what did you make, obviously, of the lineup? There was a lot of injuries. You could see that just by looking at it. And obviously, Klopp made it known in his interview, as he does always. But give me your thoughts, mate.
Personally, I think he's got the lineup wrong both games we've had. I know that he said that Gomez wasn't fit enough to start, but he come on for 25 minutes. If you're fit enough for 25 minutes, to me, you can start. I'd rather him start and come off injured than then put Nat Phillips on rather than starting with Nat Phillips. Not that Nat Phillips particularly had a bad game, but he hasn't played a lot of football. And, Gomez would always get in the side over Phillips for a start. I think the midfield three is an absolute shambles. In no world does James Milner start a Premier League game ahead of Jordan Henderson if he's fit. There's no world in which James Milner starts a Premier League game ahead of Keita if he's fit. Makes no sense to me. I've got no problem with Milner coming on as sub to see games out. I've got no problem with him playing in cup games. When you're playing in a Premier League game ahead of Milner, ahead of Hendo and Keita, it's not acceptable. Harvey Elliott was brilliant. He was probably our best player on the night. But I'm still not sure that he suits playing in a midfield three. I'd rather see him playing as a 10 behind a striker. But like I said, he was the only one really that was trying to really sort of probe and find little balls into the channels and into the front three. So yeah, I wasn't too happy with the actual starting lineup. Saying that, the actual first sort of 15, 20 minutes, we were fine. We were controlling the tempo. We were on top. We weren't really creating an awful lot of chances. I don't really remember their keeper having to make too many saves. But yeah, it was just a bit of a sort of bit of huffing and puffing. And I think the problem now with having not necessarily a problem, but Nunez, when you're playing and you've got a big guy up front who's tall and you can hold the ball up, sometimes you try and force it a little bit and you go long too often. And I just think we tried to play too many long balls that were just kind of playing into Palace's hand. They had a back five. They've got Anderson, what's the guy in the middle? Gay, is that how you say his name? And Joel Ward playing as the back three. They're all pretty tall. Nunez was just having no joy, really. I just felt like we were going a bit long, and it was just a bit robotic. It was a bit sideways, a lot of backwards passes. It was a bit too slow at times. And then, we got caught with the sucker punch of Zaha in behind, which, again, this is now, I think, 9 of the last 16 Premier League games we've conceded the first goal. I think it's the last 6 league games we've
couldn't believe some of the stats they were coming out with. Some of the stats that they were coming out with. This is what I'm talking about with the stubbornness of managers, right? When you've got Van Dijk and Konate, or Van Dijk and Matic, or Van Dijk and Gomez, and you're playing the high line, not a problem. When you've got Nat Phillips, who turns like the Titanic, trying to run back to his own goal from the halfway line against Wilfried Zaha, I'm sorry, that's stubbornness, and it's idiotic. You drop an extra 5 yards and give him a chance. But Klopp continued to play the same way without the players to play that system. And again, we got caught, and you've got to say fair play to Palace. They came with a game plan and it worked. Yeah. I think based on the first 20 minutes, to be honest, you were all over him. I don't think anyone would have expected you at half time to go 1-0 down. I agree with Elliot, though. He seemed to be the only one wanting to make his presence known. And, this is the time where he needs to do that. When certain players are injured and he's the first choice, you've got to let the action do the talking. And I thought he did that right up until they scored, at least. He was there by a long way off. Salah had a few good chances. That ball for Trent, I thought that was brilliant. It deserved the goal, to be honest. The way he just doesn't even need to look. Yeah, the thing is, for me, this is what happens in football. This is football. This is how it always is. You could have 30 chances in a game. If you don't take them, all they're gonna need is one. And Zaha just done what he does best. He was composed, calm, cool, collected. He just does that. But what annoys me is as soon as Palace go 1-0 up, everyone sits there and makes it out as if he's just turned water into wine. Yes, he's a great player, but people need to remember he's 29 years of age and he does this for Palace only every so often. There's no way I'd put him in the sort of conversations I was seeing him put in last night. Could not believe. Lee, let's go to you next. What was your take on the game? Was there anything that you disagree with in terms of the lineup, or do you agree that perhaps Klopp's made one too many mistakes at the start of the season so far?
Well, first of all, obviously the result is shit. If you're not, if you're not winning your home games against mid-table teams, you're not going to win a league.
I'm so happy.
It's just so good to hear, isn't it?
But I mean, I do think there was positives to take out of the game despite the shit result. I actually feel we played more than well enough to win that game. With 95% of it was spent in Palace's half. We had the chances. I mean, people keep bringing out stats tonight. I think we've currently got the highest XG in the league. We've got an average of over 4 goals a game, and we've only scored fucking 3. Over 2.
How does that add up?
I mean,
you've literally got one of the best front threes in the league at the moment. There's a big debate to be had on who is the best front three, but at the moment, I think going off what I've seen, yours and Tottenham's are probably the two to be in discussion because Man City's is kind of fallen apart. There's no consistency in there, so I'm still trying to adapt to what it is. But best front three in the league, you scored 3 goals and you got the best. Oh, sorry, it's just joyful to listen to. Carry on, mate.
But yeah, a bit like Dale said, Nat Phillips, we should have moved him on in the summer, really. Gomez must not have been fit enough to play a full 90. That's all I can think of. I know he came on and played 25 minutes and he looked fairly decent when he came on, but he must not have been fully match fit. And the goal come from Zaha running off Phillips. So it's the obvious target. But yeah, we done more than enough to win it. More than enough. We had the chances. We actually played a lot better than we did the week before against Fulham. I mean, Diaz's goal was world class. What a goal that was!
Unbelievable. He is literally. I think I agree with you with what you said the other week. I agree with you. I think he's one to watch this season. I generally think he is.
I don't just think for his goal was brilliant as well, but his work rate and his
work rate
up and down. He worked his socks off yesterday. So yeah, he was
to be fair, we talk about the performance and stuff like that. I mean, how often do you see a team go down to 10 men and actually dominate the game more when they've got a player less? Yeah. We went down to 10 men and then equalised and carried on. It looked like Palace with a team with a player less.
Half of that was because of him. Diaz was doing about 3 players worth of work, I think.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way he was running.
I agree a lot with. I noticed it as well. I agree with what Dale said, and there's too many long balls. There's a lot of long balls last night. I know Van Dijk's gone in his locker, but there's a lot of them, and so's Trent. But there's a lot of them are just who I noticed when Henderson come on, he just lumped it a few times. There's some poor crossing from the left hand side, especially from Tsimikas when he came on. He came on for Robertson, and didn't offer anything really. Milner didn't do a lot. He is basically what Dale describes Declan Rice as. He just runs up and down. It's just that's all he does, and just puts on the odd crunching challenge in at the moment. The whole build up to the game was bad for us. The whole week was bad with all the players dropping out, and then the red card didn't really help, did it?
We've got to talk about it as much as look. There's been mistakes in football, and it's happened at Arsenal. I remember Pepe doing this exact same thing, and I'm pretty sure it was against Wolves. Whoever tunes into this and there's an Arsenal fan can maybe prove me wrong, but I'm sure it was Pepe against Wolves where he did the exact same thing. The player rattled him, so he turned around and stupidly thinking that the referee would maybe just turn a blind eye or not see, headbutted him. Pretty sure he
He done
headbutted
it a
his
couple
chest.
times, though, didn't he? In the build-up, did we actually he goes at didn't he, a couple times, and then bang.
Yeah.
The thing is, the way I see it, right? They were in a good position at this point, Liverpool. They'd been dominating the game. They'd just gone into the second half. And you're thinking, right, Liverpool turning this around. That was my thought anyway. I would have, if I had a lot of money, I'd have bet on 2-1 Liverpool at this point. And Anderson, obviously, somehow Anderson knew what buttons to push because he pushed the right one straight away. And in the way I looked at it, it was just normal football. That was just normal behaviour from a centre-back to a striker in football. You've played Sunday League. Most of us have played Sunday League. It's what people do to you all the time. They try bully you.
It wasn't even that bad. I mean, he hasn't. It's not like when everyone's comparing him to Suarez because of what Suarez was like when he came. But Suarez had a history of it. Like they called him the cannibal of Ajax or whatever before he even came to us. Nunez has no history at all of it. So what's going through his head, I have no idea. Whether the price tag's playing on his mind, he shanked a couple of sitters, didn't he, early on, and whether that's frustrated him, I don't know. Maybe he's got a couple of weeks now. A couple of weeks was not off.
Needs to get his head back in order, doesn't he?
Get his head right. Get in the gym. Don't know. Sort himself out because you can't react like that.
It was silly. Like he lost his head. He saw red and just completely lost it, didn't he? But I think it's a frustration from him. We wasn't particularly having a great game. I thought he looked better he was getting more involved in the build up than he did against Fulham. But I think there was a little bit of needle in the first half between them. I don't think it was anything Anderson necessarily did that was out of order. It was just rough treatment from a centre half in the Premier League, and I think he was a bit frustrated. Like Lee said, he snatched at a couple of chances, didn't he, early on? And it is almost like it's almost like he's in pure competition with Haaland. It's like if Haaland scores two the week before or two the game before, the pressure's on him again because everyone's is comparing the two. I think he just needs to sort of take a step back, and maybe I know it sounds stupid because it isn't helping us in the long run at all, but it might help him a little bit to take the pressure off him a little bit to keep him away from it. He's going to have 3 games out now. Klopp can obviously work with him. Yeah, Klopp can work with him. He can sort of get his head right and come again. And I still think he'll be. He needs to put the pressure on himself, and just losing it the way he did was just it was absolutely silly. The only saving grace for him really is the fact that we managed to find an equaliser and we didn't lose. That's the only saving grace for him. Other than that,
I thought it was a good performance from the team overall. It's just 2 points dropped at the end of the day. Just didn't finish the chances.
But listen, listen, it's 2 games in. We're still unbeaten. If you look at it, if you want to take the positives away from it, we've got the
longest unbeaten record in the league out of all the teams at the moment. So we're like 21 games unbeaten or something like that.
The one thing I'll say is about Nunez. Okay, if that's playing on your mind, the whole price and expectation, fine. But this is football. It's going to happen to a lot of people. Players have been bought overpriced. It happens every single season. One of the players I just mentioned, Pepe, it just happened to him. Pepe was bought for 72. He didn't live up to it. You move on. You shrug your shoulders. You get dropped. You become the player that's out of the game. For Nunez, I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. But he's going to be a victim now. All these players are going to look at him and know what buttons to press. It just happens, when you're known as.
He's got to learn from that, though, isn't he?
That's it. Yeah, all he's got to do is he's got to just answer it now with goals.
When you come into a league like this as some sort of baptism of fire, and after missing so many opportunities beforehand, people are going to look at you as if not that you're weak in the game or that you can't handle the league, but they're going to know, what gets you angry, and that's not a good position to be in, considering you're a forward. You're at the top.
You're the one people do target him now. I want people to target him now because people go out their way to try and unsettle him and end up giving away fouls and stuff like that. So probably working to our advantage.
The good thing is he's under a manager like Klopp, and like you've got Salah there. Jota's going to return from injury. And hopefully Firmino, obviously, we've got to talk about the game coming up because we're going to be back next Tuesday, which is after it. What's your thoughts now going into Manchester United? How do you think he's going to play it? Lee, I'll go to you first as you're talking. If Firmino's not fit, because you've got a lot of injuries. This is added to fire. Darwin Nunez his own fire, shall we say? But yeah, what's your take on it now?
I think if he's not fit, if there's no centre forwards fit, I think he moves possibly either Diaz or Salah into the middle, and he'll bring Carvalho into the front three.
Looked good when he came on, but I've got to say that Carvalho. I thought he looked good, but
yeah,
I don't know. There wasn't. I think for me the good thing is with Nunez is let's play it like this is what's good about having depth. You're going to have players to like. If your whole team was fit, Nunez wouldn't be as big of an issue. It's still an issue, but it's just the fact that Firmino and
our whole team's fit to start.
I think Klopp sort of said in his interview after that Firmino should be fit by next week. So I would expect Firmino to start up front. But like Lee said, I think most likely you may even see like a tweak to the formation, and you may even see sort of the false nine, Carvalho maybe sort of playing as a false nine, and then having sort of Diaz and Salah running off of Carvalho.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a 4-2-3-1, Henderson and Fabinho sitting, and then you've got like Harvey Elliott, Carvalho, Diaz.
And you two holding against United? What a game to bounce back though.
To be honest, it's neat.
This is gold. You know what is gold here? Do you know what is gold? 3 games in, right? And the loser of Manchester United versus Liverpool could be bottom of the table. That is literal music to my ears.
You'll just be reliving your start to the season last year, though, wouldn't you? So you'd be used to that. No, listen, it's needs must. It's needs must at the minute. At the minute, you know, Nunez has completely thrown a spanner in the works in terms of the starting lineup for next week. But I'd still, you know, given Man United's start to the season, how bad they are.
If Firmino goes and have a blinder next Monday against Man United, let's be honest, a big game of the season, then Nunez has just caused more problems for himself because he's going to find it harder.
Imagine Man City lose next week and we win. Suddenly, our start to the season ain't looking that bad.
All right,
the thing is as well, you've got to look at it. Everyone's playing for position. Just because Nunez has been brought in for a big fee doesn't mean he starts every game. You know, if Firmino comes in and plays well, Firmino starts the next game. It's that simple, and that's now up to,
back as well.
This is it. It's up to Nunez now to pull his socks up, and basically show to Klopp why you brought him in, and you know, put him in. You know, put me back in the team. But
if I was to make a statement about Liverpool, I think Diaz will score more than Nunez this season in the Premier League. I'm going to put in the Premier League there just because I think they're obviously going to rotate in the Champions League and stuff, so it may make it a bit tricky.
This is the thing. I think people are putting Nunez in this bracket that they shouldn't be putting him in. He's not going to start every game, and I don't necessarily say.
I think Diaz will. I think Diaz is.
Diaz will start every game more or less, but I think people have got to take Nunez out of this bracket of they're comparing him to Haaland and expecting him to come and do the same things that Haaland's going to do. We spread the goals around the whole team, you know, the front three especially. So he's not going to come in and score 30 plus goals this season.
But I think because like you just said though, because of his price tag and stuff like that, isn't he your most ever expensive signing?
He could be if with the add-ons and stuff. Yeah, but listen, but money doesn't guarantee goals. Look at Lukaku.
Yeah.
You know, it's the money thing is irrelevant. You've got to look at the player and what he offers to us. It gives us another dimension with a bigger presence in the box. So that's something that he does. You know, he might take away a bit of the movement that we used to have from the sort of fluidity of the front three. But we're just going to have to get used to playing with a centre forward, which we haven't had for.
Yeah, and again, he's only 22 as well, so he's more of one for a couple of years' time.
Still can't believe that, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you've got too much to worry about. The way Diaz was looking last night, with him running down the right channels, you know, he's going to cause issues, especially against Man United, the way they are defending at the moment. If Brian Mbeumo can do it, if Mbeumo can do it, I think Luis Diaz and Mo Salah will have no problems. But,
the thing is as well, every team's going to go through phases throughout the season. It doesn't matter whether it's at the start of the season, the end.
We'll have our blip. You watch in October. We've got Spurs, and then Leeds away, and then City. Mark my words, that'll be our blip.
Listen, everyone's going to drop points this season at some point along the way. It doesn't really matter when it happens. We're 2 games into the season. Everyone's writing us off for the title. Let's just wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Right, and on that note, I think we've wrapped it up. People that have tuned in, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed the content. If you have, do smash the like button and hit the subscribe if you're new. And follow us on all our socials. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, on our YouTube channel, we'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be talking all things from the weekend and transferred as the deadline day is looming. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Have a good week, everyone, and we'll see you guys soon. Take it easy, guys.
See ya.